This always gets me. Walking around and seeing the burnt down ruins of somebody's house. I don't know if this was like 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago. There's something really no, poignant's the right word, but melancholy. Seeing this house and like wondering if the people made it out okay. If they're still around, if their families, if they're like their uh, descendants, if they were from like really old times, if their descendants are still alive. Coming back to this place, no one's been to this place. This place filled with memories and old homes. I don't know. I wanted to tell a story. I don't remember if I did, but me and my brother decided to go to an old family home we had a few years ago. It was a house he remembered growing up in. Even though we weren't there for many years, but we decided to go there. It was like like a town over, up the road in the mountains, and go driving by the place. And we're like expecting to see it. We're like looking around, like where is it? We passed by this road, and it's like a really familiar road and a really familiar hill. And there's no house, and he says to me, "It's gone." I'm like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's not the house." He's like, "The house, it's gone." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" No, it's up ahead. No, it's surely up ahead. And we come to the end of the road. And we're like, "Wait, this is the end of the road where our house was." We turn around and go back for the driveway. We drive up and we're like, "Yeah, the entire house is gone." And it's not like ruins like you see, like big pieces of concrete and wood, and it's like, oh, there was like some giant fire here or something. It was like it was as if it was never there at all. It was just overgrown with grass, and we could see the trees. Like that's where the old rope swing was. That was over here. I had a garden that I tilled the soil in this garden I made for myself for like 2 years. I was homeschooled. That's kind of how I did my exercises, just kind of tilling the garden. I really loved that garden. Like there was the trees that kind of surrounded the house. Like, this is where the kitchen was. The little window that overlooked the backyard. And you're like, yeah, there's no how. And we get out of the car and kind of walk around. Like, yeah, those are the blackberry bushes. That's the old tires over there. Yeah, and we find like there's like this sort of island like in the middle of the driveway. There's like a little island there, and come up to the ruins, or what you could call ruins. It's just like gravel, but it's not gravel made of like normal stone. It's like made of concrete and bits of clay brick, probably from the fireplace. And it's just unclear like what happened. Like I assume maybe something happened, like the house wasn't no one was buying the house, and maybe it fell into disrepair, or maybe it did burn down because there was a fireplace burned down. And I'm wondering, like, did it burn down? Did someone die? Did they make it out okay? Or was it just, maybe it was just demolished because it was like an old house? It didn't feel long, but we were there for probably 40 minutes, just kind of looking around different things. There's the blackberry bushes I talked about. We picked blackberries there in the summer. Like it was right next to yeah. I think there was still someone's initials in the tree. I don't know whose initials they were, but they were probably from someone who lived there even before us. And as we were leaving, like we walked through that place so many times, just looking around. Like, yeah, that's where the balcony was in the office. It was like a single floor. Was it two? No, it was 2-story, but the balcony was on the first floor because it was like on a hill. It's very weird. Like I said, there was like no inclination. You wouldn't even know there was a house here if you didn't know before. Like there was only gravel, and it was like overtaken by grass, and there's some evidence of there might have been a fire, just charcoal and things. Anyway, like I was trying to say, we've been everywhere looking at the ruins of this house, and we're sure we've seen all there is to see. There's nothing here. It's gone. And right as we're about to leave, we're about to get into my brother's Mustang. I just can't take one last look. It wasn't a house that like I had super fond memories with. I hated the attic. I lived in the attic. It was had bugs in it, like beetles all the time, spiders. I didn't like it. Couldn't hang my posters on the walls because it was like that old like 70s 70s wooden wall panels that freaking sucked. But I had my memories there. I was taking one last look back at the place, and I see something. I see something in the distance. I'm like, how could I have not seen that before? There's something like a splash of red just in the center of where the house was. I'm sure I walked through there before, and I get up and I go back over there to go look and see what it is, and my brother does too. There's and we get there, and there's a single rose, like a single rose or some rose-like flower growing from like the ashes of our old house. Something really, and we were talking to each other like, this wasn't here before. We both of us, this wasn't here before. We walked through here so many times. We drove up and we didn't see it. But we turn around like just before leaving, and it's there just in the center. This one rose in the ashes of these old memories. And I think I remember there was a rose bush at one point, I think, kind of near the balcony. We were unsure if we should like leave the rose or pluck the rose. I decided to pluck the rose and take it home to my mom. She thought it was like a funny story. Anyway, it's just one of those things about, like, I don't know the terms of like how the house was destroyed and like how much effort people went to remove it, but I don't know how long. That was probably like 10 years ago. 10 years ago or more that we lived in that house. And there's almost no evidence of it having ever existing. The house itself, in some ways, is kind of like it's like a time capsule of memories. And now it's just gone. It's only memories are, the people who've lived there. You just got to think about the future, and like that could happen to the house I'm living in now, could happen to probably every house that's ever existed at some point. The one you're living in, the one your mom lived in, your grandparents lived in, at some point all of them are gone, reduced to rubble. Some houses have existed for a long time, but will there be a time where every house has been replaced or made new to a point where it's no longer a house that holds like the same memories as you remembered or someone else remembers it, or is no longer even there? Like, when or if humanity just disappears from the earth, what left will there be of us? It's just, I don't know, just a whole lot of existential thoughts came about from that experience. This was supposed to be a video about The Legend of Zelda.